All right, we're to lesson 6. So the first thing you should do is you should have already played through your repertoire 5 pieces that we've been working on. It's okay if they're slow, it's okay if you have pauses. Just make sure you get through those first before you do the new piece here in your 30-minute session. And your 30 minutes may be a little bit longer. I'd like it to not be any shorter, but if it needs to be 35 or 40 minutes, that's fine. But let's take a look here. We're going to be looking at harmonic intervals today in lesson 6. We're still in C position though. So let's make this bigger. We'll take a closer look. Alright. Give the computer just a second. Here we go. Alright, harmonic intervals are played, are 2 notes played at the same time. And, you know, we're used to playing 1 note at a time here, as you can see the G there. But sometimes we'll play 2 notes at a time. And take a look at this. Now those notes are written catty-cornered because they're so close together, you can't really write them on top of one another. So we see the G there in the top space. And we see the F right below it. See that? How those are both a G, that's a G and an F in the left hand. F's on the 4th line, G's in the top space. But they're written catty-cornered like that because you can't write them on top of each other like they would be right here. Okay? So we call this a second. And an N and a D there. That's a second right there. Alright? You play them together at the same time. Both of those. Okay? It's called a second because they're 2 notes apart. You count both of them. F and G. 1, 2. Now take a look at this. Here we're going to have a third. That's going to be G and an E with it, which is a third away. So you have a note in the top space, a note in the next space down. Yes, it's a G and an E, and yes, you should be able to identify those 2 notes and name their location on the piano, but you should also notice that they're a third. They're stacked on top of each other, nice and neat like that. And so that's called a third. Number 3, R, D. Alright, so there's a third. There's another third. Okay? They're called harmonic intervals when they're played together like that. Interval. Now let's take a look at a 4th. Take a look at that. You don't have to know this to be able to play these notes because, I mean, you know what the notes are, but it's helpful. This is a little bit of piano theory is what this is, a little bit of music theory. To know what intervals look like. Okay, when you have a 4th, you'll always have one of them a space and the other one a line, and they'll be about that far apart. They won't be stacked nice and neat like the third. They won't be catty-cornered like the second is, but it's a 4th. Okay, so there's our 4th, 4 notes apart. So G, F, E, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 notes. That's a 4th. Okay, I can play 4ths all over the piano. It's just talking about distance between 2 notes. When we talk about intervals, we talk about distance. Okay? One more to talk about today. That's the 5th. 5ths will always both be lines or both be spaces. In this case, they're both lines. A C and a G are both line notes. I mean, both space notes. Okay, just like the thirds were both space notes or both line notes. They both will be either both lines or both spaces. So here's a 5th. Okay, so that's what a 5th looks like. It's 5 notes apart. C, D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You count both notes as you count. C, D, E, F, G. So C to G is 5. That's a 5th. So we're measuring distance on the page, and we're also measuring it in our hand, okay? So we start off with the left hand with a G on the thumb, because that's the note in the top space, right? Then we have another G, no biggie there. Now look what we have here. The G, but add an F with it. They're played together at the same time, okay? Same time. Do it again. Now we're going to play a third, which is G and E. We have the G in the top space, E in the next space down. So third, play it again. And then we go to a fourth. And then that's the first two measures. Now we count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See how I counted the half notes as counts 3 and 4? Okay, because half notes get 2 counts. Alright? Continuing on, I continue with the fifth. I play the fifth again, the G and the C. Play it again. Now I go to a fourth. You see that? So it helps to know the individual notes, what they are, but also what they look like as far as intervals are concerned. See how fourths look? Your eyes will get used to seeing that distance and know that it's a fourth. So you kind of go at it from two directions. You know it's a fourth, and you know it's a G and a D, and it really makes your sight reading better when you can see music that way. Alright, so 2 fourths there. Now we have what? Is this the second, third, fourth, or fifth? Well, they're both spaces. They're stacked nice and neat like that, so they are a third. 2 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. They get their 2 counts. Now we're going to switch to right hand. Okay, and we're going to start with count 1, of course, but you should know this note very well, right? It's a C note. And we have another C. Now we're going to have 2 notes at the same time. It's going to be a second, just like the left hand had. A C and a D together. They're written catty corner, but they're a second. They're played at the same time. Okay? So C, C, C and D, C and D. Alright, now let's scroll to the next line. And we have a third here. Okay? So C and E together. Do it again. And then C and F together makes a fourth. 3, 4. So there's our fourth right there. Then we go back to a third. 1, 2. Now here we're going to have 2 notes at the same time. Now I got a bonus question for you. After you figure out that that's a D and that's a G, alright, what is the interval on those 2 notes? Even though the right hand and left hand are playing, what's the distance between those 2? Well, if we count from G to a D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's a fifth. That's a bonus question. You don't have to be able to recognize that right away. An interval between 2 hands. But we play those together. G in the left hand because it's in the top space, D on the right hand because it's snug underneath the staff. That's what a D looks like. Now we're going to have a middle C again, and what do we have in the left hand? They're stacked nice and neat in space, space. So what does that mean? It means they're a third, but there's something else. They're whole notes, so we're going to count to 4. And that's going to take care of all the whole notes in this measure if we count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right there at that point we have a C and a third in the left hand at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I start right here, I have 1, 2, and then together, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. See how that works? Continuing on, left hand is going to have a fifth. Because look how you have space to space, but they're not a third. They're not stacked neatly like that. They're farther apart, so they're a fifth. The right hand has a middle C. Play that together because they're on top of each other. Line them up. 1, 2, 3. Now notice this. While the right hand is playing, you want to continue to hold that left hand, those 2 left hand notes, the fifth, while the right hand continues. See that? How I'm holding the left hand even though the right hand's continuing? Okay, and I count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I don't have to really pay attention to counting the hold on the left hand because the right hand's counting for me because of the 4 quarter notes there. Alright? Alright, so we get to this measure here. We're going to have another fifth in the left hand, C in the G, But while I do that, I'm going to play an E with the right hand. 1, 2, because E is on the bottom line, correct? And then another E. So 2 E's in a row while I'm holding out the 5th in the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to play this together, which is the 3rd in the left hand, okay? And a C in the right hand. Play it together. C in the 3rd. And then go to an E in the right hand. E's all by itself. So play an E here all by itself. Now I'm going to play this together because they're lined on top of each other. This is the 2nd in the left hand. The G and the F, remember that? Play that with the D in the right hand together, and then one more D. Right there, okay? So together, and then that single D. And then, moving to the last line. Now don't forget that you can play hands separately if you have trouble with this. Okay? Play hands separately. That means when the hands have stuff together, you can go through all the right hand and play it, go through the left hand, play it, and then put them together. It's totally fine to do that and recommended. Alright, so right hand has a C, of course. What does the left hand have? A 3rd. G and E together, because they're space, and they're nice and neat on top of each other. Play it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, a 5th and the E on the right hand. Play together. E and a 5th. Then you have some more E's. E, E, and then an F. Okay, so E, E, F. Make sure you hold that left hand down while you're playing the right hand. And then we have another 5th and a G on the right hand, and then another G. Make sure you hold the 5th down on the left hand. But we're going to play G and the 5th together. 1, 2, 3, 4. See how that worked? 1, 2. Count 1, 2, and then count 3 and 4 went here. Now to finish up, the G in the right hand and the 2nd in the left hand are played together. F and G in the right hand together, and then F, E, D, because you should know what these notes are by now. You should be getting to know these. By all the flashcard practice you're doing and all of the note naming, say it, play it. Alright, and then we finally have a C, a middle C with the 3rd in the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4 to end it, okay? Now, we went through slowly, dissected each measure. And did very well at that. This is a more challenging piece. You may have to do this one for several days, for 4 or 5, and that's okay. Really, it's okay. It's whenever you're ready to move on to the next one, okay? So this can stay in the new pieces column on your practice log sheet for several days. And there's nothing wrong with that. Alright, let's hear the whole thing. Ready? Find our C position. Right hand thumb on middle C, left hand pinky on middle C. Alright? Here we go. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to actually try something here that I thought about doing. And that is follow the bouncing dot. Let's see if we can do that. Ready? Go.